everyone, and welcome back to Tokyo Talk. I'm Mai, and today we have an interesting word to discuss.
And I'm Jack. That's right, Mai. Today's word is condone. It's a verb that can sometimes be a bit tricky, wouldn't you say?
Definitely, Jack. Condone generally means to accept or allow behavior that is considered morally wrong or offensive to continue. What's your initial take on it?
It implies a sort of tacit approval, often by not speaking out against something. For example, if a teacher doesn't say anything about students cheating, they might be seen as condoning it.
That's a great example. When Jack mentions tacit approval, he means an unspoken or implied agreement. It's about overlooking wrongdoing. What's an antonym that comes to mind, Jack?
Good question. I'd say condemn or denounce would be strong antonyms. If you condemn something, you express complete disapproval of it. No shades of gray there.
Exactly. Condemn means to express very strong disapproval. So to condone is almost the opposite. It's more about passive acceptance of something negative. How about we dive into some synonyms? I know learners often confuse these.
Sounds good. How about overlook? People might think if you overlook something, you're condoning it. But are they always the same?
Not quite. Overlook can mean you didn't see something or you chose to ignore it. Perhaps a minor mistake. Condone specifically implies an acceptance of something known to be wrong. For example, you might overlook a typo, but you wouldn't condone plagiarism.
Ah, that makes sense. So overlook is more about not noticing or choosing to ignore, often something small. But condone carries that moral weight. What about permit?
Good one. Permit means to give authorization or consent to someone to do something. It's more active. For instance, the rules permit parking here. Condone is more passive. It's about not stopping something wrong.
So, you wouldn't say the rules condone parking here, even if there's no sign saying you can't? Because condone implies something is inherently a bit off.
Precisely. The lack of a prohibition sign doesn't mean the act of parking there, if it were wrong, say, blocking a driveway, is condoned by the rules. It's more that the wrongdoing isn't actively punished. How about excuse?
Excuse is interesting. It means to try to lessen the blame attaching to a fault or offense, seek to defend by reasoning. Like, he excused his lateness by saying there was heavy traffic. That's different from condoning lateness as a general habit, right?
Exactly. When you excuse something, you're often offering a reason to forgive or overlook a specific instance. Condone suggests a broader acceptance or tolerance of the behavior itself, not just an isolated incident. What about forgive?
Forgive implies that someone was wronged, and they are choosing to stop feeling angry or resentful. I forgive you for being late. It's personal. Condone doesn't have that same personal, emotional release component, does it?
No, it doesn't. Forgive is about letting go of resentment. Condone is more about the societal or organizational stance of not opposing wrongdoing. For example, the school cannot condone bullying, but a victim might personally forgive their bully.
That's a very clear distinction. So, condone is often used in contexts of authority or societal norms, like, we should not condone behavior that harms the environment.
Yes, that's a perfect example. It's about the implicit permission given when a negative action isn't challenged. It makes me think, Jack, have you ever been in a situation where you felt something was being condoned that shouldn't have been?
Absolutely. Sometimes in a workplace, minor breaches of rules are ignored, and over time, it can feel like that behavior is condoned, leading to bigger problems. It's that slippery slope idea.
When Jack says slippery slope, he's referring to an idea that a relatively small first step leads to a chain of related events culminating in some significant, usually negative effect. That's a very apt description here.
Thanks, Mai. It's important for communities or organizations to be clear about what they don't condone to maintain standards. What do you think is the most common way people misuse condone?
I think it's often confused with understand or empathize with. You can understand why someone did something wrong or empathize with their situation without condoning the action itself. All right, let's move to our review segment. Jack, could you start us off with an expression using condone?
Sure. The management cannot condone such unprofessional behavior.
What Jack just said, the management cannot condone such unprofessional behavior, means the leadership will not accept or allow this type of poor conduct to continue.
Here's another. Silence can sometimes be interpreted as condoning an injustice.
When Jack used the expression condoning an injustice, it refers to passively allowing an unfair act to happen by not speaking out against it. Now for a contrast. Jack, give us a sentence with condone, and I'll follow with overlook.
Okay. Society should not condone hate speech.
And she decided to overlook his minor mistake this time. Here, condone is for serious, morally wrong issues, while overlook can be for small errors that you choose to ignore.
Great examples, Mai. So listeners, try to use condone when you're talking about not accepting wrongful actions.
And remember the difference between condoning and related words like forgive or excuse. Practice helps. That's all for today's Tokyo Talk.